Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn.
Welcome back to EMIP TV. I'm Dre, and today we're going to talk about used photography equipment. And I even have a special guest lined up that I want to talk to him about used photography equipment. But first of all, why do we want to talk about used photography equipment? Well, if you watch this channel enough, you know that I am a proponent of used gear. I love used gear. You can get significant savings buying used gear compared to the new gear. I'm going to say that again. Significant savings buying used gear compared to the new gear. Now, you know, buying used gear does come with risk. Number one, it might not work. Number two, you get scammed. Number three, it could work and then it blows up on you like one of my gear, but it was new, and then it don't work anymore. But there is danger when buying used gear, but the savings is so significant, I think you gotta take the chance and go ahead and make the purchase, depending on how much you're saving between the new gear and the used gear. So now, what do I look for? Well, first I look for, let's say I'm buying a lens, right? I kind of see what the new gear, what it costs. And usually with lenses or photography equipment, everywhere you go, it's usually about the same price, right? But used gear is really not that way. The prices fluctuate. They fluctuate greatly, you know, depending on how bad this person wants to get rid of the equipment. So you price the new gear, you price the used gear, look at the savings difference and see if that's worth taking a chance of buying a used gear. Well, I don't want to rattle on that too much. I'm sure if you're watching this channel, you're into photography and you know yourself, you probably look at used gear. But so today we're going to base it on used gear. I have a special guest lined up. He's a fan of the show. His name is Brian Michael from Brian Michael Photography. We're going to talk to Brian because he just copped this deal on some monolights, and I want to see how he likes it. How did he like venturing into the used market? So let's, without further ado, let's talk to Brian. Okay, Brian, so you was able to cop some Bowens monolights from a friend, and you got a great deal on them. Now, what Bowens is a manufacturer that manufactures monolights along with other photography equipment. So tell us about the deal that you got from your friend on these Bowens lights.
I got so lucky. I was gonna buy a monolight kit, strobe kit, in like a few months anyway, but I was just saving up because, you know, they are to get everything you need. It is, you know, usually a bit over $1,000. Like if you want to get a couple lights, you know, umbrellas, soft boxes, beauty dish, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And the kit I was looking at, you know, total was around $1,700. And so it was just random. You know, a mutual friend, a friend of a friend, just messaged me on Facebook randomly. And they're like, "Hey, I'm looking to sell my light kit. Are you by possible in the market to buy one?" And I was like, I didn't really talk to the guy that much. I knew he was a photographer, but I never really interacted with him. But I just knew him from, you know, my buddy that I see at work. And I just kind of thought it was like weird and sketchy. I'm like, so I start like, you know, probing him with a bunch of questions like, "Oh, so why are you selling it? What's wrong with it?" You know, that kind of stuff. And especially when he said he was selling the whole kit for $500, I was like, okay. And then he told me the name, and I'm good with some names, like, you know, I'm familiar with Alien Bees and Broncolor. I think Broncolor, yeah. So I know of a few of those brand names, but I never heard of Bowens yet. So I was like, okay, let me do some research on Bowens, and it's, you know, it's a UK-based company. And the products were rated really well. I mean, and I was like, okay. And I went to see how much, you know, per unit they cost, and it was like $650 per unit. Wow. And this guy's giving me, you know, 2 plus a bunch of other stuff that equaled, you know, near $2,000 for $500. And I'm like, okay, all right, man, what's wrong with it? You know, is it all beat up and dirty and all? And then, sure enough, no, it's in great condition. He goes, no, you can come over, set it up, and, you know, try it out and all that stuff. And I did, and it was working flawlessly.
Okay, so what is your process of buying used gear? Like for me, I kind of look at the new market, I look at the used market, I kind of get a difference there to see if it's even worth for me to stick my foot into the used market. Like if the difference is so great where I can cop a good deal, save hundreds of dollars, I'll go ahead and risk buying something used. So do you have that same method, or if not, what is your process?
Well, what I do normally is I do tons of before unless it's something simple like a just a reflector, then all it's doing is reflecting light. I just get one that has a decent construction. But as far as like new equipment that's supposed to last me for a while, I'll do all my research on the products that I see most often that are well rated and stuff like that. Then I go and check out the new prices and see what they go for. And a lot of times, especially with photography equipment, the good equipment costs good money too. And so I'm like, okay, all right. Then I find out, are there any other pieces of equipment that are like this that are not so expensive? Like, you have a Canon 70 to 200, that's $2,500. But if you
Right.
go and get the Sigma version, it costs between 1,000 and 1,500. So you're saving a bit of money, and then I see, okay, well, if I save this money, how much quality do I lose by saving $1,000? Is it $1,000 less quality?
Hmm.
And Sigma does pretty good. So especially when you're in a crop sensor. I mean,
Hmm.
why? I'm not going to have a 1DX or one of those kind of cameras for a while because
Hmm.
my budget just doesn't allow it yet. So I look at the new market first, and after I find generally what I want, then I go and see, okay, if I go used, is this product a product that I would want to buy used? Is it something that if you buy used, you're gonna have to go and rebuy it because it's gonna, die out on you?
Hmm.
Like certain camera body, like lenses you could buy used. That's without a doubt. Tons of photographers buy used lenses, and some never buy new ones because they're like, well, I can always buy this one when the brand new one comes out and someone sells it.
Okay, I do get a lot of crap on YouTube in the comments about, hey, you got to buy the best and this is that. You bought crap and used and all this stuff. But sometimes it's perception. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have, let's say, a lens costs $1,000, and you have another lens that costs $1,500. You automatically think, without knowing anything about those two products, that the $1,500 lens is the best lens, but not necessarily. We relate a lot of things based on quality to price, and that's totally not like me. I always I will always look at the other units. I will always look at what the market has to offer before I make a decision, a purchasing decision when buying used equipment or off-brand products.
Oh, I agree. And once I really found out, like, when I first before I even had a DSLR, I was doing all my research of, which way I was going to go. And I ended up with the Canon 60D. And no, it's not the best out there. I mean, I could have saved up a little more and got the 7D or even went full frame, but I seen the quality that other people were getting with my camera at my level, and it was decent enough. It was a little bit above the Rebel, but a little bit below the 70, and it was in my price bracket at the time. So I was like, okay. Um, but as far as getting the best, what I do is I try to get the best from my budget, like the most I can get out of the money I have.
Hmm.
And and that's why, like, I was originally researching the alien bees because for the price point that they're at, the other monolights in their price point are a little bit below par.
That's true. I agree with you, and I think the Alien Bees does make a great product relative to price. I'm looking at the Alien Bees myself. So, the Bowens lighting. Do you have that available? Do you have it to show the guests?
The Bowens 500Rs.
So the overall condition of it, how does it look?
It's clean. It's in really good shape. I mean, it came with this like suitcase, a rolling suitcase that I could bring to the airport and stuff.
Oh
And
wow.
and like rollerblades type wheels on it. I'm like, Bowens really makes a good product, and it's a hefty thing too.
That's great. That's great. So let's go ahead and sum this up. So what advice would you give a first-time person going into the used market, or even a more experienced person going into the used market, buying used gear versus new gear, or even buying a off-brand?
I would definitely I would do your research before you can go and buy an aftermarket or pre-owned equipment. I mean, normally the good thing with photography equipment is photographers are normally pretty anal with taking care of their gear. So generally you should, unless they're running around the desert or the jungle like we were talking about earlier,
Right.
you should get decent quality stuff from a photographer that's not broken. And if it's a professional, then they're going to want to maintain their good name. They don't want their name tarnished. They don't want someone to say, "Oh, this photographer sold me some crap and it didn't work and I got scammed." And I'm sure there's those out there, but generally I'd like to believe that these guys, they like to take care of their equipment, and you can end up with a really, really good deal. I don't know if I'll ever find a deal like that ever again. This quality of monolights for $500, that was unheard of. And the crazy thing is that he had it up on Craigslist he was originally selling it for 900, and then he dropped it down to 800, and he wasn't getting any bites on them.
Uh-huh.
And that was significantly less than what he paid for it.
Uh-huh.
And then finally he had it up there for like 700, and then he was getting people that are really lowballing him, and he's like, "Man, I'm losing money as it is. I'm dropping my pants on this as it is, and you're trying to really lowball me."
Uh-huh.
But and mind you, I didn't give him a price. I didn't even try to talk him down. He told me 500, and I just gave him 500 because I felt it was a good deal. Why am I gonna try to talk him down any more than I saw the price, I saw the quality, and as long as and when I went and saw the product, I was like, okay, this is really good quality and it works. Boom, boom, boom. And so I was like, oh, why would I go any less than this?
So there you have it. There's Brian from Brian Michael Photography. If you want to follow Brian, he has a Facebook page. You can just search for Brian Michael Photography on Facebook, and you can go ahead and follow Brian. So he did cop some monolights. He got a great deal on some monolights, and I mean, that is the extreme. You're most likely not going to find a deal like he was able to, but if you look and you use all your researchers, such as your friends, your family, people on your job, you might be able to cop a deal just as he did with those monolights. So anyway, thanks for watching the show. Hey, and you know I don't do this like all the time. I have a 9 to 5. Well, I talked to you about my 9 to 5 in this video right there to your right. You can check that out. And if you want to contact me, my contact links are right there to your bottom right-hand corner of the screen. And I'm always looking for people to feature on the show. And if you want to be on the show, contact me at emiptv@yahoo.com. Well, anyway, thank you for watching the show. I'd like to give a special thanks to Brian Michael from Brian Michael Photography. Thanks for being a fan. I really appreciate it. And thank you for being a fan as well. This is EMIP TV. I'm Dre. I'm out. See ya.